Sometimes it can be a little difficult to taste the difference between store-bought flour tortillas and the wrapper in which they're sold. Those tortillas are often too thick and heavy with very little flavor at all. However, thin, flaky, and seasoned tortillas are so easy to make, and they're a much tastier option. To make the dough, we combine 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour with 1½ teaspoons of salt, and that's plenty of seasoning to give the tortillas some flavor. Next, we add the fat, and while many recipes use lard, we found vegetable shortening made great flaky tortillas and was easier to come by. Drop 6 1-tablespoon pieces of shortening into the flour mix and use your hands to rub it all together until it's well blended. It should look a little like white, coarse cornmeal. And next, the key ingredient, and that's water. But it's not the amount that's key, it's the temperature. For this job, we need to use fairly hot water, heated to 110 degrees. The heat from the water will melt the shortening, which in turn will coat the flour. This is important to prevent gluten development, which is activated when flour mixes with water. By essentially waterproofing the dough, we minimize the formation of gluten, and as a result, the tortillas will be much easier to work with and more tender to eat. So just stir in 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of water until it's well combined and comes together. To finish the dough, we dump it out onto the counter and knead it a few times, just until it forms a smooth, cohesive ball. Measure 2½ tablespoons of the dough, roll it into a 1½ inch ball, and place it on a large plate. Then repeat with the remaining dough. Now, this dough is too sticky to roll out right away, so put the plate in the fridge and let the dough firm up for at least 30 minutes. Or you can leave them in there for up to 3 days, but be sure to cover it with plastic wrap. When it's time to roll out the dough, we flour the counter lightly and then use a rolling pin to roll the dough into 8-inch rounds. Now, we can't use a tortilla press for this job. Even though we've minimized the amount of gluten that's formed, it's still there, and the tortillas will snap back when pressed. So just take your time rolling out the dough and then set them aside as you complete the rest. To cook the tortillas, we heat 1/2 teaspoon of vegetable oil in a large nonstick pan over medium-low heat until we see the first wisps of smoke. Then use a wad of paper towels to wipe out the oil and lay 1 tortilla in the skillet. Now, within a minute, you should see small bubbles form on the surface, and that's a sign that the tortilla is ready to flip. So go ahead and flip it over and then cook the second side until it's browned and puffed, and that's going to take another minute. Remove the tortilla from the skillet, and then to help prevent it from drying out, cover it with a dish towel. Repeat the process with those remaining balls of dough. Now the tortillas are ready to use right away, or you can keep them fresh. Just layer sheets of parchment between the cooled tortillas, cover in plastic wrap, and then refrigerate them for up to 3 days.